I'm gonna be talking about issues that could potentially be quite disturbing, and one that involves the safety of all the passengers on board. You guys know who I'm referring to, so I don't have to mention them by name. So in short, unless you need to take Service 52 as part of your commute, my advice is during AM peak, which is what I've been told the person's shift is, unless you have to commute, try to avoid taking Service 52 at all costs up till his 3 months probation period is over. Now, I am not confident that he will pass. I think he's eventually going to get fired by SBS for not meeting standards. But it's still 3 months, and anything could happen within the 3 months. So I need to make this video before this guy goes around endangering the lives of more commuters. There was one incident whereby, or maybe even usually, which is even worse, he would wait till all the passengers alight, and then he would set his EDS as off service and basically run through, it's still on revenue service. The bus is still on revenue service, but he's putting off service EDS so that he would basically cut corners and not pick up any passengers along the way until he was on time. And then he would set the EDS back to 52. Basically once his trapeze turns from orange to green again, once his trapeze turns green, if he was running late, this would be his dirty tactic. Okay, where was I? Basically, once his trapeze turns green, he would then set the EDS from off service to back to 52. And once the bus returns to the interchange, I don't know if it's at Bishan or Jurong East, he would hide people on board the bus when all the passengers are supposed to disembark from 52 once it reaches the interchange. Because 52 is not a service that loops inside the interchange, it's a bidirectional service, and passengers are not allowed to stay on board. Now, it's a different story if there happens to be a few passengers that have dozed off, are asleep, and then usually what happens is that the bus driver wouldn't notice them, and then once they realize it when they've already parked the bus. I mean, this is why you check for sleeping passengers once your bus completes its trip. But in case you didn't see any, let's say if it's at the upper deck or something and you just didn't notice. So usually when that happens, the bus driver would then safely escort the passenger back to the alighting berth, or back to the interchange, the passenger area. Usually that's what would happen. But this case is whereby there are bus enthusiasts, regardless of age, how old they are. He hides people inside his bus. Then he would go for his toilet break or something. And then he gets back to his bus and then he repeats. Drives the bus to the berth, and then the service 52 berth, if I'm not mistaken, and then he would start service again. So he hides people on board his bus when the bus is layovering at the interchange parking lots or wherever the bus is being parked at. Once a passenger even asked him about the fare, and usually when you're checking the fare, right, even when the bus is in motion, the bus driver would check the fare using the console. You know which console, I don't have to elaborate. But he took out his phone to check. So he's basically using his phone while he's driving. Or he's passing his phone to the bus enthusiast to check for him. Yeah, it's basically using phone whilst he's driving. So back to the OS EDS part. So passengers can alight, but no passengers would be allowed to board because the bus EDS is off service. The thing is, it is still on revenue service, but he's just doing this to catch up with time. So he is still on revenue service. He is required to pick up passengers if passengers want to board his bus, but he's setting it as OS EDS to ensure that it's like, oh, alighting only. So basically he's cutting corners. Most trips are back to back, and then I was vaguely told that he lets specific people or some people evade fares. Like they board his bus, he would just let them evade fares. And yeah, whilst he's driving, he would check his phone, like Instagram and everything, instead of concentrating on what's in front of the road. Which is not a good look, especially if you are a public bus captain. Now, if you are just like listening to music or the radio, or like you're just playing a YouTube video, like audio, you're not watching it, you're just playing the audio, that is still fine. But he was clearly using his phone to check Instagram, which is what you're not supposed to be doing when you're driving. So besides like hiding people in his bus, there are also some other things. Once the elderly passengers, when they board his bus, they ask for the fare. And then he, as the bus captain, started telling them to shut up and then swearing at them when he should be maintaining professionalism. And this is about like checking fare and everything. It's not about like small talk or anything, which is not allowed. You are supposed to be serving them, but you dismiss them rudely. And I don't even know if like these passengers are even paying the fare in the first place, or he just let them off because, oh, he is already late and he just wants to catch up time, so anything to make his life easier, I guess. Now, I know 52 is prone to PIE congestion, but that doesn't mean that you as a bus captain are allowed to do this. Regarding his bus, this was what my friend, I'm not gonna expose his name, this was what I was being told. I mean, he befriends kid bus enthusiasts, and for some reason, he's nice to them, but he's not nice to like normal commuters for some reason. So when he's supposed to be concentrating on driving in front, he's like, passing his phone over to his kids, asking the kids to answer on his behalf, and then let's say it was like a phone call or something, and then the kids would then pass over the phone to him, and then he would just like, when you're making a phone call, you talk outright. So it's like it's probably something like the kid is holding the phone in his hand, or maybe he's holding the phone in his hand, or I don't know. And then he's like talking on the phone whilst he's driving. Not talking to OCC, talking on his goddamn phone. Talking over the phone, sorry. Like, I have even had like another public transport operators, okay, so they are staff. I know them personally. And I have received complaints about this guy from said staff before. So the staff doesn't have a lot of connections with the HR side of things, although, he could ask, but again, everybody is busy. So basically, so he and this guy, like the staff and this guy, they don't even know each other in real life at all. But before the guy became a bus captain with SBS Transit, like he's still on probation now, by the way, but before that even happened, the guy tried to like hook up with, I don't even know if that's a correct word, tried to hook up with the staff, and then at random times, for no reason, he would just like message my friend, like basically who is like a staff working in PTO. Like he would just message him at random intervals with no good reason, no apparent reason, and then to ask like, hey, can we meet up in real life even though we are like complete strangers? Okay, that's just one thing, okay? And then the same guy started pestering my friend again, who is PTO staff, to be like, hey, has the PTO already accepted my application? Can you ask HR to check? And then he constantly pestered him again and again and again and again and again, despite my friend not wanting to entertain him because everybody is busy. And basically, besides the reckless driving, I mean, that's why his probation even got extended, cause like my friend said, heard from other sources that like he crashed quite often. But besides that, the number one red flag with this guy, like I've told you before, is that he doesn't even know like the other person's like age or what, and he's every single time he just has to put in the word kids or young people. Like, okay, I know young people is very ambiguous, and even somebody who can say like, oh, I'm 79 years young instead of old, like as a form of honor, like, oh, I'm 122 years young. But I mean, jokes aside, like the whole definition of like what we're discussing right now, it's quite creepy. I've experienced it with him. Other people have also experienced it with him. But in short, it's basically he's becoming a bus captain not because he wants to serve commuters and uphold safety and all the stuff that a bus driver is supposed to do. He's just doing it for clout. And he wants to attract quote-unquote kids or young people, and he often brags about how fast he drives. Even though I've already told people about his shenanigans, he often dodges my questions as well, if you noticed. And besides that, he's like, okay, wait, what did I say? He's constantly bragging about how, oh, all the kids, by the way, look up to him. And then he can, okay, like the YouTube commenter is a nameless, faceless guy. Doesn't even like review his age or anything online. And this guy comes in and says, like, even though the guy was clearly trolling, and then he was like acting in a really creepy manner, he was like, thank you, my dear young one. And I'm not taking this out of context. He doesn't know the other person's age, and even if he knows, it's not any better. And his like standard template response would be something related to kids, or like responding along the lines of like, oh, thank you, young one, which just fucking creeps me out. And I'm an adult. I'm not even the people that are actually experiencing this. So as a bus captain, you're supposed to ensure safety and basically serve passengers. Give them your best levels of service. But what do? You become rude to the elderly. You decide that it's not a good idea to pick up passengers along the way, even though that's what you're supposed to do. You try to cut corners. You drive recklessly. You don't give a fuck about everybody's safety. And you go around literally trying to get on the fucking good side of people under the age of like 18 or 21. I don't know, but you get the idea. And you still have the fucking cheek to say, the audacity to say that like, oh, if I fail my probation with SBS, I'm gonna go knock on like Tower Transit's doors. Who the fuck would accept you? And not not just that, like, the way you're like phrasing things, you are a fucking danger and threat to society. Let me just remind you. Like, look, I may not be able to stop these young bus enthusiasts from boarding your bus because it's a public service, but this doesn't stop me from trying to warn people about how fucking dishonest and just how much of a fucking shitty scumbag you are. Stay the fuck away from these people. It's not just like a specific demographic groups that will be affected by them. He's not even safe in his driving, and here he is like fucking bragging to other people about how fast he drives, or how much support he has from like a certain demographic group, regardless of what demographic group it is. Oh my god. I hope this is the last time I would ever have to like make a video like this, like an ad hoc video like this, because it's just so sickening. And I just want to remind you guys, please protect yourselves, stay safe, and for the time being, don't take Service 52 unless you really need to commute. You can ask me in the comment section, like, what are some alternative travel options? I will give it to you. But if you encounter this bus captain, whom I presume is like between the age of like 20 to 30 years old, correct me if I'm wrong, but what was I about to say? I will give you the alternative travel options if you need them, as long as you can safely avoid not taking his bus. Not because I have anything against this guy personally, but I feel he's a fucking threat to society. That's just like in real life. Online, he responds to people in a creepy way, and he just desperately tries to like get close to people, telling them, oh, can we meet in real life? Gosh.